There's a scene towards the end of the Starfield showcase which shows something very few people are currently talking about. You can see it on the screen right here. The character slowly walks forward, confronting a bunch of enemies. They raise their hand and use what appears to be telekinetic abilities. Now, as I say, this is something which isn't being discussed very much. Certainly Bethesda themselves haven't mentioned it, and very few places on the internet have discussed it also. I guess there's just so much else going on with the game. So, is this actually a telekinesis? Is this some sort of magical ability that exists within the world of Starfield? In my opinion, the answer to that is definitely yes. Now, I've mentioned this very briefly in a previous video, but I want to go into a little bit more depth here. Interestingly, I did see a few comments saying that it would be absolutely bizarre and totally out of place for such abilities to exist in a sci-fi world. I mean, I totally disagree with that, because telekinesis, telepathy and all that exist in pretty much all the popular sci-fi out there. Let's think. Mass Effect is a fantastic example. Telekinesis does exist there. Another great example is The Expanse. And this is a spoiler for anyone who hasn't read the later books, so do be aware that this is a spoiler. But the later books feature telepathy as a central plot line. And if we look to other forms of sci-fi, we've also got Dune, Star Trek, Babylon 5 and many others, which all contain special abilities of one form or another. So, special abilities within sci-fi. It's not without precedent. I do think that, yes, Starfield is going to go down this route. My opinion is that it's going to form a central ability for the player, much like the Dragon Shouts did in Skyrim. Now, you may remember, if you've played that game, that there was all sorts of different abilities there, from the ability to kind of do a force push, shout at people and project them off into the distance, make objects move, sort of like a telekinetic explosion. But there's also other shouts which allowed you to kind of move very fast, effectively, I guess, slowing down time, as well as numerous other capabilities as well. Players gained these abilities from discovering a wall which had ancient dragon text on there, which when read gave players the ability of said shouts. These shouts were then powered by the Dragonborn's ability to absorb dragon souls after killing a dragon. Now, I do think that Bethesda are going down this route again with Starfield, and that the player very likely is going to uncover special abilities through the discovery of artifacts. Artifacts have played a central focus in pretty much all the trailers so far released for Starfield, as well as the showcase itself. Now, whilst Bethesda haven't talked too much about this, you do hear the characters reference them in the showcase and in the trailers, and you even see them, well, in various different stages. There's one right here, which seemed to be in perhaps what I would call its natural state in space or on some sort of alien planet, and then these components here on a table where they're being, well, investigated or inspected. My take is that these artifacts will somehow allow players to unlock telekinetic abilities in the same way they gained special abilities from Dragon Shouts in Skyrim. So yeah, with everything else going on in Starfield, from base building to spaceship construction to combat and, spaceship flying and pretty much everything else, magical abilities, yeah, this is going to add another layer entirely, isn't it? Do let me know in the comment section below what you think of all of this. Do you think that telekinesis, other type of sci-fi magical abilities are going to exist in Starfield? Or do you think this is a complete random speculation and I'm way off the mark here? Alternatively, do you think that it may well exist, but that it has no business being in a sci-fi world? Now, keep in mind that Bethesda haven't outright said that Starfield is hard sci-fi, but they've definitely gone for more believable sci-fi than something, say, like, I guess, the fantasy elements that can be found in Star Wars, although maybe that's unfair to say. But I take that from Bethesda classing the sci-fi as NASA punk, and you see that very much embedded in the design of the spaceships as well as the robots that are found throughout the game. But anyway, like I say, let me know your take on this. Do you think that magical abilities, or the sci-fi variant of those abilities, is going to exist in Starfield? Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.